Good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Community Updates and Enlightened Hearts. I'm your host, Michelle White, and this evening we have Miss Michigan herself, Destanza Murphy, who is here with us this evening, and she's going to be telling us some wonderful things about her program. And all this month we're talking about, we've got a caller that's calling in already. Caller, I'm going to ask you to give us 2 minutes and call right back, because we do have to preface some things. So please, caller, please give us 2 minutes and call right back. So we've got, again, Miss Destanza Murphy this evening. And we have Mr. Jonathan Curry, who told me to say, "What's up, though? What's up?
What up, though?
What up, though, John?" So that's how we're going to refer to him. But you know, before we even get started, I do always like to share some community information that is just things happening in and around the area or around the country. So this evening, today, I've got just a few on my Facebook page. Please go to Michelle Turner White. I probably have 30 jobs listed, food programs listed, and a myriad of other pieces of information, but it's too long. It takes up time, so now I have to defer to please go to Michelle Turner White on Facebook, and then you can see the myriad of pieces of information, community information that we put out that is available to you. I see that our caller is hanging in there, so we're going to take you in just a second. And then also we have the JECF 5K run at Kensington Metro Park, and it is a walk for mental health. Wow. And it's going to be October the 7th at Kensington Park. And Kimmy Horn, a famous jazz vocalist, excellent jazz vocalist, is going to be rendering a concert. So you get to have some exercise and some music. And if you are interested in becoming participating in the walk, you can go to www.johnevancashfoundation.org. I'm going to spell that. It's John, JOHNEVANCASH Foundation, FOUNDATION.org. Again, that walk is Saturday, October the 7th. And please go, get some information, participate, support it. If you can't, support them financially. Or maybe you want to walk, maybe you don't want to walk. There are opportunities available for both things on that day. And I've encouraged some of you to call in and tell me about your event, because people are sending me things now. We've grown so much, and I thank you for our audience that has grown to over 80,000 viewers and listeners around the country.
Amazing.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. But I do need you to share your information. Call in if you want to become a guest. Share your information. That way we'll welcome you to come and tell us about whatever community venture or event that you're doing and program that you're offering, because we are here to help. We're here to share and help around our community. I've adopted a slogan that together we serve our communities. It's not one of us, it takes all of us. And we all have a sphere, a circle of influence, but our influence, because of social media, grows beyond our imagination if we get it out there. So with community updates, we're here to help with doing that. And with Enlightened Hearts, we want you to call in Dr. Regina, who is on her way. She's our licensed therapist that is here to talk to you, to help you, so that you're not feeling depressed sitting in your home, so that you're not killing somebody and going on killing sprees or killing yourself. Talk about it. A lot of times when you share and verbalize it out loud, it helps.
It sure does.
So you've got a way to call in, talk about whatever you're challenged with. We don't want you sitting at home depressed. No. Call in to Dr. Regina. We want your heart to be enlightened as well as your mind, so that you can look at the outcome a little differently and be able to navigate through life a little differently. And we're here to help you and show you how. So we thank you for tuning in to Community Updates and Enlightened Hearts, and you're watching us live right here, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and other top social media platforms. And when you watch us, please don't forget to hit like, follow, share, and subscribe. Comment. We want you to comment on Facebook. We want you to call in. The number here is 313 355-6018. And if you're watching us on Facebook, feel free to go to my page, Michelle Turner White, or go to WJZZ Cool TV's page, because that's where you're watching us. And thank you again for tuning in and watching WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. And you know, WJZZ, for those jazz enthusiasts, we're back. The jazz station is back, and we're doing every month. There are different jazz featured artists that are out here. Do you all like jazz at all?
Love jazz.
All right.
Love jazz.
Yes, I do too. And so tune in to go to WJZZ's website or their Facebook page, and you can see a lot of the artists that are featured every month doing different. The venue right now is the Aretha Franklin
Amphitheater.
Yes.
So go and, listen to some cool jazz. So which one of you would like to go first? Well, ladies first.
Okay.
Ladies first. So we've got Destanza. I love that name, Destanza.
Thank
Does
you.
that
It's
mean
amazing.
anything?
It does, actually. It
What
has
is
a
it?
little bit of a musical meaning to it. So
Okay.
stanza, like in a poem or song. So thankfully, I'm a little. I have a little bit of a tune to me. My mom is a classically trained soprano operatic, so
Oh, wow.
she passed
Okay.
that down to me a little bit. So
Awesome. So you sing as well.
I do sing as well.
Okay.
But
Well, wonderful. So we have Miss Destanza Murphy, who not only is she Miss Michigan, and she's going to tell us about that with her beautiful tiara and what do you call it?
my sash.
Her sash. And she has a program called Mentoring a Younger Me. And she's going to tell us about that program, how it got started. And she assembles different children and teaches them some of the pros and cons of social media, some how to get into pageantry, and just a myriad of things to help empower. Is it men and women? It's girls
It's
primarily.
girls primarily, but I mean, it's the same. It goes across for all, really.
Yes,
Anybody can
yes.
take this in and utilize the tools that keep what works for you, let go of what doesn't work for you. So, thank you for having me today. This is really exciting.
Thank
to
you
be
for
here.
coming. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So tell us how you started. I know you're going to talk to us about pageantry, but tell us how you started mentoring a younger me.
So certainly. So I started mentoring younger me actually through pageantry, because the beautiful thing about it is most pageants you have to have some sort of platform, something that is going to carry you throughout your year of reign, whether that is you want to get a part of a foundation and just uplift what that is. And I wanted to do something that was close to me, which was youth mentoring. So
Okay.
I work outside of pageantry. I work in educational marketing and communications. I have for the past 10 years. So
Okay.
my clients are those students and the communities that we work for. So I thought back to when I started pageantry, what was some things that were lacking for me? And I think to that really intriguing time in life, which is usually middle school, when you're starting to make some changes and things are looking different and feeling different and sounding different. Your friends are navigating in different directions. And I just thought, I have a really supportive family, but what would I have really wanted more of when I was younger, when bullying came up?
Interesting question.
When bullying came up, or when my friends were kind of navigating different ways that I didn't always align with, what would I have wanted? Who would I wanted to talk to? So mentoring a younger me came just kind of like a thought bubble that popped into my head, and I just thought, why not work with youth and just be a listening ear? Sometimes that's all students and young people need in our generation, is listening.
Yes.
And just being able to talk and be relatable and talk to one another. So I started going into schools. I worked for Detroit Public Schools Community District for a few years, and I worked in the Office of Communications. So I would do a lot of writing and things, and I love school. I loved school growing up, even though I had my obstacles with it, but I still loved it. So I've been lucky enough to go into schools and hold all-girl assemblies, hold small networking kind of one-on-ones with smaller groups, and just talk about just those everyday mundane things that happen while you're navigating through school, specifically middle school, when she doesn't like me anymore, he's this, the teacher is looking at me, you know what I mean? And it's been a blessing to be able to go back to some of those schools after a year or two and see some of those students go from 6th grade to 8th grade and say, hey, Miss Destanza, do you remember when you came and you talked to me about bullying, or how you experienced that and how you navigated through it? Guess what? Because you came, I was in a bad place, and I listened to your words, and it really resonated with me. And I'm happy that you came. I'm happy that you shared your story. I'm happy that you talk about arts and how, you know, that wasn't always the cool thing to be a part of when maybe you were younger. But here's some art pieces that I drew from the last time you've seen me. And I'm going to go to school and I want to go to college for art now. Or I followed my path to do that. So somebody's always listening. And I think that's important. And something my mom always told me was, one day you're going to take care of me. And the youth now, they're going to take care of me. So I want to make sure that I'm a voice for them so that we have a generation that is kind, generous, that is powerful, that is confident in themselves. And no matter what, you know, we only have ourselves sometimes. So we may be in a dark place sometimes, but if we're able to lift ourselves up or remember something that may get them through something. Maybe it's a saying, maybe it's a poem, maybe it's something a teacher told you, a counselor, you know, a guardian or somebody that, you know, shared something with you. Me, that said something to you that you remember. And because everybody I just named, that those are people that have touched me in my life. And I remember conversations or those little one-on-one moments that help carry me through school, because like I said, it wasn't always easy, you know, being if I was different or if I didn't sound like someone or I didn't dress like someone, but I still wanted to try out for sports. I still wanted to be the class president, even if you didn't want me to be it, and I was.
All right.
And I still wanted to be.
So you navigated successfully through some of the challenges in grade school. Two things. I'd like to hear your story.
Sure.
And then you mentioned that you mentioned that there were tidbits of different things. That what are some of the things that people do when they're being bullies to young people in school?
So I think the most common thing is just that static, that noise, that talk, that speech, whether it's behind someone's back. Nowadays it's social media. Everybody jumps to social media so quickly to be able to talk about somebody. And
so they talked about how you
dress or if I sound differently. Yeah, if you know, you sound like a white girl, or you sound this, or you sound that, and I'm just being me.
Exactly.
And why can't I be me? Because we're all fighting for that. I want to be creative. I want to be this. And why are you pulling me down? Because I may not be fitting a mold for you.
Yes. I love that.
That doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
That's so true.
That's the key point.
That is a key point. Why are you trying to pull me down because I'm not fitting a mold for you? I love that.
That's great. I like it.
So we've got people that are listening. We've got a caller that needs to call back. Please call back, caller. And for those who are listening now, maybe you were bullied as a child. Maybe you're concerned that maybe your child might be experiencing some bullying. Call in at 313-355-6018. Both of our guests today are talking about bullying and sharing some, going to share even further things. And you stated earlier you were bullied yourself as a child. Tell us about your story and how that.
So I was bullied. I actually started in private schools, and I just did. And so smaller community, preschool class looked just like the senior class was going to look.
And you're absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I wanted something different. I wanted something larger.
Handsome.
And so I remember when I switched from private school to public school, because I wanted that large graduation and the cap and gown. I wanted all that. I didn't want the same 10 people from over here. You know? I wanted something different. And
you lived in a community that was predominantly Caucasian.
Correct. Okay. Yeah, and so I was a minority often, and I was okay with that because I had friends from dance, I had friends from soccer, I had friends from Girl Scouts, different backgrounds, ethnicities, and I embraced all of that. So to me, we're all in it together.
Exactly.
And so when I went to my different school, you know, I automatically got, you're different, you sound different, you're trying to do this, you're trying to act this way, you're trying to wear this to fit into here. And I wasn't. I was actually doing the complete opposite of that. And what that did, and I've talked to students about this, that tears you down. That makes your head sink a little bit lower when you go to lunch. When you go into that big lunchroom in the 7th or 8th grade for the first time and you don't know anybody, where do I sit? What do I do? What moves do I make right now?
How do you develop friends?
And then you get the people looking at you sideways like, well, let's see what happens. Let's see what they do. And it's unfortunate, though, when it comes to that, because we're all going through the same thing in school, and I think it's some of those students that are very insecure. And they see somebody shining, or they see somebody getting to that point and their goals that they want to make, and maybe they're not able to do that. So for me, it was getting into 7th and 8th grade, and I had a group of girls. Had a group of girls. They were found my number because I think maybe Yellow Pages and things were out.
Yeah.
If we remember those,
Yeah.
And so,
They're like
The
Yellow
Yellow Pages.
the
Pages.
Yellow Pages,
Let me
White
Google that
Pages,
real
yeah.
quick.
This next generation, they don't know
They won't know
anything
what it
about
is.
the Yellow Pages.
But found the number. I'd get phone calls home. Is DeSanza there? Hang up, or inappropriate names and all of these things. And I was called to the principal's office one time, and again, I was very active in school, so it was off for me to be there. What's happening right now?
Right.
Why are you here? And I didn't want to get anybody in trouble. And sometimes that happens with kids. They are scared to speak up and do things because they don't want to get in trouble. They think it's their fault. They think it's them.
Yes.
And it's not, and so I don't want to be a tattletale. You don't want to be a snitch or anything like that, but you have to be able to stand up for yourself. So,
And it's usually the confident children that are bullying other children.
Yep.
Yes.
And it's good to be confident, not overly confident.
Right.
But my goodness, it's usually those then they form a little group that thinks
Yes.
that they're better than the other kids.
and it's always a few people in the group that are like, I don't really want to be doing this right now,
Right.
but I'm in the group.
Yeah.
Right.
And sometimes that's
And
hard.
and I'm happy to
Yep.
be in the group, so I can't do anything to get me out of the group.
Yeah. So at one point it was, if you don't come and sit with us or act different or do what you need to do, we're gonna fight you. We're gonna beat you up. My mom wasn't having that, but
Right.
but my mom doesn't go to school with me.
Yes.
My big sister doesn't go to school with me, so I still have to go into school with my shoulders up, head high, and still be able to walk through my classroom, my hallways, sit in class, make my grades, and do what I need to do, get to cheerleading practice or whatever it was. And so that was a major challenge for me, was not just the voices that I heard throughout the hallways, not just the messages on voicemail, but that stays in your head. And when you want to try out for something as a youth and middle school, but you're like, maybe I shouldn't because they're gonna make fun of me or whatever that looks like, and that's hard, and it's hard to navigate through it. So that was a really large part of it for me. And the only thing I can say I did was I kept going because I didn't know how else to be. When you're being you and you're being genuine to yourself, you can't be okay, let me act over here. Like, that doesn't make any sense. It didn't compute to me.
Yeah.
So I just kept going. I cried a lot at home.
So did you have friends?
I did. I had friends, and I had friends that stood up for me too, but I had a diverse group of friends because of where I went to school. So it was almost like, why is this happening to you? Like, I don't understand. And a lot of that bullying was happening behind the scenes. So it may not look like something you run up to, like, let me stop and help you, because it's happening behind the scenes. It's happening over the phone. Nowadays, it might have been happening over social media. Unless you print those DMs out, people don't know that's happening.
Exactly.
So you both are going to talk about bullying, and I want you to both kind of interject here as well on some of the John Curry has an organization called Beat the Streets. And it's an anti-bullying for kids. He travels around the country talking about it, and it's been 10 years old. And I know that both of you look like you're roughly around the same age and did you deal with bullying or?
I would say not entirely, because I never cared.
Right.
Okay.
So it was one of those things of going to school, wanting to fit in, and then realizing what fitting in was. And then I just was like, I have to drink, I have to smoke to be cool. And I was like, no, you don't.
Right.
Like, and, over time I developed this thing of like, it doesn't matter what nobody else is doing.
Right.
Do what makes you happy.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, what will happen is you will end up doing all of these things, and then nobody's there.
Yep.
If you go to jail, nobody's gonna be there. And that's what happened with me, unfortunately.
That was smart.
And I still did dumb stuff and ended up going to jail. And unfortunately, what going to jail was the change I needed, because I realized I looked left and I looked right, and I said, wait, the same dudes that were doing what? And like you said, you can't snitch, but you're like, wait, hold on, why am I in?
Right.
And y'all not. So that was my changing factor.
How long did you?
A week and a half.
You were in jail a week and a half?
And
So
that was
that's
it.
all it
That
took.
was it. That you don't listen. Dude, I never forget. I tell the kids this story and they laugh every time. Like, dude, it was lunchtime and the guy was like, yeah, I want your food. It's like, here you go. Have a good, he was serving life. I said, I'm in here for something way less. Like, and now what happens is, and a lot of the youth go through this, what happens is you get in jail, you end up fighting.
Yes.
You end up disobeying because you're trying to be the tough guy in there. You're trying to do something to prove a point, and now you go from a week to 2 months, and then you do it again, and now it's 2 months turn into a year. And I have friends that's been in there for 2-3 years now because of one simple thing, but now you're trying to prove a point in a space that it's like you don't even need to prove your point in there. They're in there for a reason. You're in there for a reason. Learn your lesson and get out. You know.
I'm so glad to hear that.
That's amazing.
I work in the prisons as well. I'm at Macomb County Correctional Facility. I used to do the youth facility, Calumet, and I'm in Huron Valley, which is the only women's prison in Michigan.
Really?
Yes.
Never knew. Okay.
Only one, and that's not good either. But they're like 40 men's prisons. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yes.
But I'm glad that you only spent a week.
Yes.
Because I actually see many young men in prison for a lot longer, and they'll come and say, Minister White, please help me get out of here. Because it's no place to be. It does. It really does. So thank God that you weren't in there that long.
Yeah.
And it you know, it opened your eyes.
Yes.
So this is not the way to go.
No, not at all. You got those guys.
And you mentioned
different.
something how people will bully you by saying, I want your cookies. I want your lunch.
Just like that. That was bullying.
Yes.
But then what do I look like fighting a bully?
Right.
Like, no, you won. You got it.
You got
And
it.
you learn. And that was the thing of also understanding with drinking and smoking early. Like, I don't want to do this.
And people would try to make you drink and
Oh,
smoke
yeah, for sure.
early.
Like, come on, why? You lame. You this.
Yes.
I'm like, I guess
I'm
I'm
gonna be
lame
lame.
then.
That was in middle school.
Yeah.
Speaking of that.
Yes.
And I was just, I don't know, what my mom, you're straight and narrow or whatever. I was, because this is the thing about me. I don't do stuff I don't want to do.
Yes.
And I learned that at a very young age. If I don't want to do something, I don't want to do
are
it.
leaders.
Correct.
And it was hard. And it's so weird because you don't realize you are until later down the line.
I hear all leadership.
Yeah.
And it made sense every grade.
Every time.
I was like, huh. And then we get to senior, I was like, okay, because no one's asking me anything. No one's coming back. Like, they know. And people are like, you know what? I wish I had some more of that. Then just do it. But some people.
And you just can't.
So how are you helping with each of you with your program? So yours is mentoring a younger me, and yours is beat the streets and both of you deal with bullying and helping youth that are being bullied. How do you deal with it? How do you what are some of the tools that you give those who are listening and you want to give to our audience today? And again, caller, please call back. And also we had some people to text in and say, what's up, John?
What up, dog?
What up, dog?
What up, dog? Yes.
So what are some of the tools that you give to youth or to the parents that are listening on how to, help deal with bullying? Like you said, your mother wasn't going to have anybody to beat up her daughter.
No, she sure wasn't. And my mom really just instilled as best as possible, because again, she can't go with me. She can't hold my hand. I love my mom. She's my everything. But she wants strong, confident, women that can go out there and stand on their own 2 feet. So something we really practiced earlier on, and I know that it is very trendy now, but it's very powerful, are those words of affirmations.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
When I sit with my young girls, I'm like, okay, give me 5 words.
Yeah.
And I can't just be, I'm nice. No, really think about it.
Yes.
Are you genuine?
Yes.
Do you have generosity in your heart? Are you humble?
So you get the children or the youth, I don't want to call it children, to speak who they are.
Correct.
Say, I am this. I am that. Because our words have power.
Yes.
They sure do.
And so when we put it in the universe, we have angels that move on what we say. So that's so powerful, and that helps our thought process to know when we get down, or when that girl or boy says something to make us not feel, and sometimes it could be our parents to not make us feel empowered. We can speak that I am confident, I am beautiful, I am this. We've got Dr. Regina, who's been able to join us. The traffic was a little heavy today. Yeah.
How you doing?
But we're so glad you made it here safely.
Jeez, yes.
Yes. But so that's one of the things that you do. One of the tools, callers and listeners and viewers, we want you to call in again at 313-355-6018. But one of the tools that Destandra just shared is the importance of powerful affirmations.
And just really quick for the parents too, a really quick something they can do at home and then display it as visually is create an I am board. Literally,
I have an I am sheet
too.
that I used to keep. I know it by heart now,
Yes.
but I used to keep it in by the bathroom mirror.
Yeah.
So that I could speak it while I was getting dressed.
Yes.
And I would have two, and I would put little sticky notes all around so I could keep myself encouraged and empowered that I am this and I am that.
Yeah, I wanted to speak to that too. Welcome. And I'm sorry about me being in the traffic, but
Listen,
I've been
you.
listening to everything that you guys were saying, and it has been a wonderful.
Did you hit like and subscribe and share?
No. I was too busy trying to get here.
I know.
And fussing at the traffic. That's what I was doing. And praying.
Yes.
And what I can say is that the affirmations, I had a situation to happen when I was doing some mentoring one time in the school, and it was like 5 or 6 of us mentors, and we were just going around, which is a great exercise for parents and teachers to do, is to speak life.
Yes.
That's what you're doing when you're
Yes.
affirming, right? You're speaking life. I was speaking to one young lady, and I believe I shared this before, and she could not take it. She could not take it, and what she said was that her dad called her a B every day. That's how he referred to her. And so it just, like Michelle said, parents can sometimes do harmful things.
It's so crazy. Like, unfortunately, it starts at home. It starts
does.
the way you treat your kids. Like, you know, the main reason I'm even here is honestly is because of my grandma. You know, my grandma has told me, whatever you want to do in life, you can do it. And I took that motto and I stuck with it. No matter how many times I fail, no matter what happens, I was like, you can do it. You can do it. I literally, and it's funny, I got affirmations a little differently where, like in my sun visor, when I pull it down, it says never, never, never give up. You know, mine are a little, you know.
But you just keep them before you.
You just keep them
before
somewhere
you.
because you never know. Even like that, you're mad at traffic, you slam your thing. And you're like,
Oh, okay.
all right, you're right. Just relax. You know, I'm gonna get
Yes.
there when I get there. So it's those things. But if you start at home and you start telling your kids, you know, really positive things and telling them they can do stuff, it's better than telling them no, you can't. Because what happens is we get to the point where it's like, you can't do that, or you're not supposed to do that because they did not do it, or they never seen income through it. Like you know, me getting into acting there. People are like, what? That don't pay anything. Don't do that. And it was like, the first time I stepped on stage was the first time I was able to verbalize exactly how I've been feeling for 18 years. And I was able to say it, and I was crying, and everybody was like, oh my God, you're a great actor. And I said, oh, yeah, acting. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that one. No, like, it was me finally being able to express it, and everybody was able to take it because it was acting. But if I was able to do that at home, it would have been, I would never have to wait 18 years to finally get it off my chest of how I really felt.
So what you're sharing is there are a lot of youth that could have things on their mind, but don't feel that they can share them with their parents.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I started Sisters Journeying Together, and why I wanted you guys to be here as well for International Day of the Girl Child, because we want to teach young people, particularly girls though, in this case for the International Day of the Girl, is to empower them to you know, use their voice. And it doesn't have to be sassy or, you know, girls get labeled so much, even you being labeled. That was just some flat out bullying, labeling. That was awful, but that's what happens, right? And so I just want to encourage today the parents to call in. Michelle, what's the number again?
355-6018. That's area code 313-355-6018.
Yes, call in and talk to our young people and ask questions. One thing that's happening around us every single day, there's young people around us. It doesn't matter if you have any kids. It doesn't matter if your kids are all grown. You are an adult who have the ability to influence. So, and our kids need influencing, and by good character and what's good, what's right, what's holy, because enough goes on in the world that they are going to be put down. You know, a person told me a long time ago, I don't need to put myself down. The world going to do it for me. Easily.
It's so crazy because this is so crazy because I just had this conversation with one of my mentees yesterday. Yesterday actually, and this is like the roughest thing to say to parents, but I really need everybody to hear this. You can still change. As a parent, you're not done growing. We get into this thing where the parents is like, oh no, I know everything, and it's like, you don't. I'm so sorry to tell you that. I don't want to seem like the bad guy here, but you don't even know how to work your social media yet. So to try to tell a kid to be like, hey, you can't make money off social media, you couldn't. And I get that, but you got to be able to at least try and hear them out. Because when you shut them off and you say no, then they go somewhere else, and then they find love somewhere else, and that's what ends up being in a gang. And now you're in something where it's like, oh, I just want to love.
Oh, I love what you're saying. That's wonderful because you need. That's it. That's going back to hearing their voice, right? And not being in this household where, what did I tell you to do? That was my household. What did I tell you to do?
That was all of our households.
You know, they shared something with you. All shared something with me earlier that there's something now called gentle parenting, because I was speaking about how now this generation thinks that I don't have to respect you unless you respect me. Don't ask me. Are you asking me to do something, or are you telling me to do something? 10-year-old. Yeah. Are you asking me? Or what do you mean am I asking? I'm telling you to do something. Well, how about you ask me, Granny? How about you what? But that's the way they think. So tell us about gentle parenting.
Well, you know, I'm not a parent. Disclaimer. But I have a young nephew that is starting his elementary journey, and he and his friends and just, you know, the kids that are growing up in elementary now, I have heard of this gentle parenting, but it's much more of a communicative parenting, and I'm sure it works well for some, but that hard but on it is, I think that some students or some children may take advantage of that.
Yes.
Right. They may take advantage of it, and that's where the talk back that we're used to, that's really what it is. You're talking back to me. Yeah. It's not about I need your respect to get my respect and vice versa, but I'm your parent. I'm asking you to do something for the benefit of you to grow into the best version of yourself.
That's right.
That's what
I know why I'm laughing. Yeah. Because
but that
my
whole
parents
conversation
would say, I want you to do this because I'm your parent, and I'm saying do it, and I would say, well, why?
And it's,
I got smacked in the mouth.
And you know what's crazy?
Well, if it didn't make sense to me, well, you need to give me an answer why I can't go out and play. My homework is done. My bedroom is clean. What's your problem?
And it's like if you don't answer that why, what happens is that kid goes into the world, and now the concept is messed up, because now when the world tells, because the world is going to tell you to do stuff, your job is going to tell you you have to do something, and now you're saying no. And you're like, well, you can't do that because now you don't have a job, and it's like, well, I'm not going to do nothing. And it's like, we got to start looking at the why as, let me give you a reason. And give you a real reason, because if you don't do this, you're going to end up being lazy. If you don't clean up, you will end up being very dirty. If you don't take out the trash, the house will smell bad. And then at least they can get some type of answer. And if I said it again, now it's like, all right, I told you once, and I told you why, so now I gotta do it.
Our children are on social media so much that their brains are moving at a much more rapid pace.
Not only are they on social media so much, but they're also getting who they are from social media.
Yes, that's my big piece.
Tell me about that. How you guys are kind of trying to deal with that, because they are. I had a young man once tell me that when people start telling him he was gay, he didn't believe he was gay, but then when he started hanging on social media, he believed it.
Wow.
And so, and then he began to look at himself and say, well, you know what? I am.
Yeah.
All from
social media.
And that's probably happening a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
That's right, a lot. And that needs to be dealt with. So
I think the one hard part, and it's very simple, is you got to get off. Yeah. I have to take my breaks. I have to get off this thing, because this is not real. And I'm sorry whoever's offended by this, but it's not. This is a social media. If they take this down tomorrow, who would your life be? You know, it's going to be the people that's in front of you. So when you really think about who you are, you gotta let everything go. You can't have your mom there, you can't have your brother, your sister. You gotta have you sit down, whether it's with God or whoever you believe in or whatever you believe in. You have to sit down and have that conversation. Who am I and what makes me happy? And you can't go to social media because they'll tell you, oh, you need to make this amount of money to be successful. And you're
exactly. It's an outside in anyway.
Either
so
way.
How someone, and this is so true, and I believe that our young people need to hear it. And I used to tell my daughter this when she would get upset and people would say to her, "Yo mama," and I was like, "Well, what about your mama?"
And
I mean, really, what about your mama? All I want to know.
So mad.
Yeah,
and then I got older and I said,
imagine.
wait, what? What am
Right.
What am I mad for?
Exactly.
They didn't even say anything.
I said, what about your mama? Because the only mama they can really talk about is they mama.
It's like you don't even know my mother. Like you have no clue. But it's when we assume that we give them power.
Yes.
And we be like, well, whatever you're saying is gonna hurt my feelings. And it's like, you could call me ugly right now. It's like, okay.
I was a fighter and I take it out.
That was your opinion.
That goes back to us being leaders, I guess. Like, okay. Like, I don't understand.
I don't.
Like, okay. Anyway, so let's talk about what we were talking about over here. To your point, too, on social media, because I talked to my girls about this, you're seeing this highlight reel of somebody else's life.
Yes, highlight.
Literally.
I love what you
like
said.
No,
yeah.
literally.
Literally.
Highlight.
It's
Because
just a highlight.
I do it. I'm like, you know what? This is a cute picture of my
Yes.
nephew. This is me in this. And I tell my girls, too, like, when I go in my car, I'm taking this off and my sash off and my crown. It comes off and I have to, and I'm Distanza. I'm always her, but I have to continue to be her and I have to be proud of her, regardless of anything that I have on, that I'm putting on social media.
Yeah.
But that social media piece, I think that, to your point, you have to get off of it. There has to be some sort of digital detox at some point.
Yes.
At some point. But also, more than anything, for parents, and this gets hard because as your child gets older and they get more independent and they want to do things on their own and be a part of their friends and be a part of the conversation, you have to teach them the safe way to be on any social media platform. And remember that what you put out there, because it used to be MySpace and Vine and all these things don't exist anymore, it stays there. So when you want a job and they have to search you, because that's some of the first things I do as a communications professional. Yes, a resume is wonderful, but what's your social media track?
Yes.
What does that look like? How do you present yourself? And it's not a judgment piece, but that
tells you something about the
it's-
person.
you're putting it out there.
And it's kind of funny because I always tell kids to go to whatever your favorite, superstar is and look at their page. And a lot of them like, oh, I'm gonna go to Kevin Hart's page, and you go to Kevin Hart's page and you see nothing but work. You see nothing but promos, promos. Because that's what their social media is. Their social media would never be about that. Like LeBron, it's work, it's basketball game pictures, and it's like, I can see this on ESPN, but it's like, no, it's not going to be anything more, anything less, because this is not a real place.
No.
So I have to leave this at what it is, and then come back to the real place.
But talking about that real place, that's part of the problem. That kids don't know how to locate a real place. That's one of the things that dealing with the International Day of the Girl and dealing with Sisters Journeying Together is to offer a safe place, a safe space where kids can express themselves, adults not getting all upset, hearing them, not trying to refute or disagree, which can be difficult. When you're hearing things that kind of like, no, let me tell you, no, they it's not. There's a time and place for everything, and my daughter really had to teach me that. My husband felt like I gave her too much voice. I gave her voice. That's true.
Right.
I gave her voice. But that's just
I did too, and sometimes I feel like I gave my son too much voice.
I can't say too much, but
I was like, I want you to be able to say whatever you need to say to me. Even if you're saying a bad word, feel free.
I didn't say all that, but yeah.
I told my mom the other day, my sister and I were like, well, you made us. You told us to be this confident and, and stand up for ourselves. Remember?
And see, it's funny, I had to learn it. And that was the difference where I had to learn to be like, all right, exactly like your worth. You have to go out there, because then nobody's gonna put a worth on you. Nobody's gonna be like, oh, you're worth this or you're worth that. You have to go out there and take a stand. And the more and more you do that, the more and more they realize.
Learned your worth, and now you're sharing your worth and how you've navigated through different challenges with other people. I don't want to, definitely, we need to talk about Miss Michigan.
Oh boy.
Yes.
And that's a wonderful
Yes.
feat and accomplishment that you've made. And tell us about the Miss Michigan pageantry and your experience there, your
Yes.
journey. I mean, we're very, that's a, well, let me just
Thank
applaud you.
you.
That's a
Yes.
wonderful
Thank you.
thing. It's a
Thank you.
wonderful
It
thing.
is. It
Tell
is.
us
Thank you.
about
Yeah,
it.
so I've been in pageantry for over 20 years now, believe it or not. And it's, I trickled into it because
So you
again,
start at 1.
right, exactly. Sure did. But, I've always loved to perform. I was a shyer kid, and I always tell girls I talked to, do you think I was shy when I was, no, how? You're up here, you're doing all these things. Like, I was shy. And I'll admit it because I think some people need to hear that. Because it's okay to be shy.
Yes.
It
Yes.
is. It's okay to be, you can be shy and confident, when you need to be. But pageantry gave me just another outlet to be able to present myself on stage. And I'm so grateful to it because, there's so many stereotypes out there. And you think of a pageant and you think of what you see on TV and they're
Yes.
mean and they're catty and they're this and no.
Yes.
I have a sisterhood from pageantry. Some of my best friends are from pageants. And it's helped me brand myself and present myself well and be able to not just myself but advocate for others. Because like I said earlier, in the best of times when you're in a pageant, you need to have something that you're able to be a part of for that year of your reign and beyond, whether it is supporting a foundation, whether it is working with children and youth, whether it's working with Alzheimer's, whatever that passion is in your life, this is your time to be able to get on a soapbox with it and uplift it, raise some money for it, spread the word for it, and then continue to do it. So pageantry has really opened up doors for me, and my community's been very supportive. My Wayne State University has been very supportive as an alumna and as a former employee.
That's awesome.
And
Yes.
it's and the best part of it too, people always ask me is like, why pageants? Again, I work with students, I work with youth, but going back into the schools and being able to share my story and talk and connect and let them know, oh my gosh, maybe I can do this too.
Yes.
Well, talk about some of those negative aspects or viewed as negative. The questions are great, but the women in the bathing suits or just being seen as a sex object, and then
like that.
even 45, and I'll just leave him at 45. I mean, he had a chance to be a part of a pageant, and he saw it as a way to take advantage. So tell me.
Yep. So it's always the pros and the cons when it comes to the fitness wear of something, whether it's a swimsuit, whether it's literally a physical wear, pants or shorts or whatever it looks like, your evening gown, your on-stage question, your interview. Your interview now should be the most weighted part of a pageant, because how you speak, how eloquent you are, what you're talking about, your substance, who you are as a person. But a lot of us really fight to make sure we look good and we feel confident on stage.
Okay.
And more than anything, I feel that if I'm gonna put myself out here, I'm gonna do this, I want to do it healthy, I want to do it confidently, and I want to be able to get up here and show that I'm proud of myself. So that takes away that symbol, that objectifying, whatever that is, away from it.
Oh, very good.
Very
So,
good.
yeah.
I
Good
love
job.
how you answered that. Yes.
Look,
good.
it's
Right.
natural. It's so natural. It's natural.
So it's very much, but being on a national stage, because I was in Vegas a couple of weeks
Yes.
ago, and I was there for 8 days, and that was a long time, but it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to be with all these women that are, I'm talking career women, mothers, because the missus was there as well, mothers, doctors, lawyers, you know what I mean? And just to be able to share that, the stage with them, we should be proud of all of us and uplift all of us. But I didn't come back with a crown, and that's okay, because, and like I said earlier, I'm proud of my performance, because at the end of the day, I can only control myself and what I do and be proud of myself. Those judges, we have no clue what they want and who they're going to pick.
Exactly.
That's
So
true.
You should be able to walk away
It
with a
really
smile on
is.
your
Would you say
face.
is subjective as well? I mean, yeah, I would
Yeah.
think so.
And that's what everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
we,
right,
We could
exactly.
sit here and argue about what's
Yeah.
the best movie for an hour,
Right.
or who's the best basketball player, or
Yep.
who's whatever. Because, I mean, who I like is who you like,
Right.
and that's the thing I try to, same thing you got to tell the kids. It's like you're arguing about who's the favorite rapper, and now you're
Right.
fighting. Like, both of y'all are right. It's
Exactly.
Who you want.
It's who you want. That's
like,
true.
I only could do.
Yeah.
That person can only do so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
One
yeah.
of our listeners texted in and said that, and I just lost it, but said that it's important to learning to set boundaries at a young age is important, and how to stand on those boundaries. And you all learn to set boundaries and not succumb to some of the bullying that people were trying to project onto you. That's your problem. I've had people tell me, I don't like you just because you smile. That's not my problem.
No.
That's your problem.
Yeah.
And I'm so
You know, so
sorry.
you had, but you all were able to navigate that. And we, Mr. What's up, Doe John? He told me to call him that. What's up, Doe John?
All right.
So, and one of our callers said that too, listeners. But anyway, so you with the, and I want each of you to tell about your activities and things that are going on.
Right, yeah.
So Beat the Streets is also a stage play as
Yes.
well as the name of your anti-bullying organization.
Yes.
And you have received a approval, an RFP approval with
Yes.
all the Detroit public schools.
Yes.
So you do an after-school program in all of the Detroit public schools. Tell us about that and how you navigated that, and what are some of the things that you're doing in the
Yeah.
Detroit public schools.
So, Beat the Streets was started by my brother Arthur Cartwright, and that's what got me out of jail. So when I got out it was funny. The play came to my school. I went to Mumford High School. Terrible. I was so bad. I was really bad. But the play came to the school, and I watched it. And it was my counselor, Janine Bryan. She was like, "Go, you got to see this." And I'm like, "I don't want to see this thing." She forced me to see it, and literally, I was like, "Man, this stupid. This is not real." And the next week is when I went to jail. And literally in the play, somebody went to jail, and I was like, okay, all right, I understand. Like, I'm starting to get the point. So right after that, I asked him for a job, and he took me on. I started as a light technician, and now 10 years later, senior
Wow, 10
production
years later,
manager.
I read
Yes,
that is awesome.
Officially 10 years this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
that's
appreciate
awesome.
it. So, and it's funny because my goal is to get back to Mumford this year to do a show there. But
so when you go into the schools, what do you do?
So, depending on different schools, so like what our biggest thing is, we have an open show that's normally at Second Ebenezer Church, and then we invite all the youth in the city out. So sometimes we go as far as down, we go like east schools, and then we go west, and then we go south, and we go
And you
north.
actually do the play.
Yep, no, so they come to the facility. So it was
Okay.
kind of funny. We picked out a church because a lot of kids have never been in a church before. And we bring them all to a church. Now, it's a Christian event, but most of the kids don't understand that. And it's funny because sometimes we get the pushback, especially with certain schools that cannot go into a church. And we were thinking we were going to change it, and we officially like, no, we like it here. We put them in a church, and at least
So some of the
at
schools
some
cannot
point.
go into churches because it's a church.
Yeah, so like Hamtramck Academy, based off their, their
population.
yes,
Religious
exactly.
beliefs
They,
and-
they just can't do it. But the kids are like, I want to go so bad. So sometimes we have to, move it outside the church, and it's
So you do move it outside the church. Okay.
sometimes,
yeah.
sometimes,
right.
yeah. So and normally what we do with them, we'll just give them their own private show and go to their official school and do
Beat
it
the
there.
Streets helps teach them what?
So Beat the Streets is truly about
Beating the
friendship.
street. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, literally beating the streets. And going back to the goal of what you were saying, the thing that we try to teach is friendship, and to do better things with your friends. Because the thing is, we don't want to tell you don't have friends, don't do nothing, but do positive things with your friends. And the main thing about this was it was based off a real book called Beat the Streets. It was a #1 seller.
Okay.
And these guys grew up in New Jersey, and they end up making a pact together and end up becoming real doctors in real life, to the point where they didn't even get to do their practice because their story was so amazing on how they got there. So we pretty much took
How many, what was it, 3 doctors?
3 doctors.
I've read,
Yes,
I mean,
yeah,
very powerful. Okay,
So we just took that concept and we
That's
just added the
awesome.
social media, the new stuff, and we just pretty much put it out there, and we show kids that, like, in the play, you'll see kids that's getting bullied. You got a kid that's going to commit suicide. You got kids that's in gangs. And we...
Yeah.
That's another thing. A lot of kids that get bullied
Are
committing
suicide.
suicide.
Yeah, that's really true.
So that's why we're talking about this, callers.
Yes.
We need you to call in. Whoever called in at the beginning, if someone called in at the top of the show, call in, ask questions.
that probably was me.
Oh, that was you. But call us here at 313-355-6018. Share if you were bullied, or maybe you were the bully.
Yeah, that's true.
And
now.
maybe you're navigating how not to be a bully. How is your bullying affecting you, whether you were bullied or being a bully now that maybe you're an adult?
Well, I do want to ask, So when is your next show?
So we are blessed enough, to travel to Atlanta, Georgia, October 25th.
October 25th?
October 25th.
We
We'll
got
be at
all
the
our
Clayton.
Atlanta viewers.
Yes, Clayton County Performing Arts Center.
And that was October
25th.
the
All
25th.
right.
Yes. But the good news. So I just received a text, an email yesterday that this Friday we will actually be receiving it's called the Jesus Legacy Award at
congratulations.
at a concert at the music hall. Jordan Sparks will be there, and they're presenting us with a 10-year achievement award.
Nice.
And
Can anyone come?
Anybody. You can buy tickets on Ticketmaster, everything.
Good.
So it was such a crazy blessing. Like, wow,
That is awesome.
It shows you that people are
Congratulations.
watching you, whatever you're doing, and the fact that it's
You influencing.
all under God's name is the whole reason I do this. It's not for the
Where will
money.
that
So
event be held?
this is at Music Hall.
And what
The
date?
music hall
This is
here.
this Friday at
Oh, good.
8
Okay.
p.m. Yep.
I'm not sure if I'll maybe make it because I'm planning my event for Saturday.
And listen,
but
you see, I texted you yesterday. I'm like, this is amazing. So
we've
yes.
got a caller on the line. Caller. Hello, caller.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I sure can hear you.
Awesome. So talk to us. Tell us what you want to share or comment you want to make or question.
I would like to say, first and foremost, I thank God for my son, Jonathan.
Oh.
He is an amazing young man. This young man is so powerful. He brings me so much joy. And I love the man that he has become because he knows whom he is and what his purpose is. He has always walked in his purpose from day one when he came in my office. Yes, this is Miss Bryant.
That's the literally she saved my life. That's my counselor.
Janine
Yeah,
Bryant.
Janine
Well,
Bryant, yes.
Hello,
Janine Bryant.
I put my foot down and I told him, son, I'm not going to let you go. I'm going to be with you all the way through this for the rest of your life. You are stuck with me, son. Yes, you are.
Aw.
Yeah,
And,
she was a great
you know,
figure. Both of my
he was one of my
parents,
Think
got
Respect
killed when I was
ambassadors where
So,
I saw
both
him
of my parents
being
got
a
killed when I was
troubled
2. I
teen,
lost my
and
grandfather
I
at
was
8th grade,
like,
so Janine
no,
came in.
I
She was a
believe in this black
great
man.
mother.
I am somebody. I am significant. I am phenomenal. I am a young black man who is prosperous.
Now, are you
who
still
is
at
God's
Mumford, Miss
child.
Bryant?
Miss Bryant, are you still
What'd
at
you say?
Mumford Schools?
No, I'm not at Mumford School anymore. But you know what? Like I told him I would be with him to the rest of his life. Even while his grandmother was alive, I was there with him. And with her being in the heaven, I'm still with him. I always make sure that
right.
he's
What
on
a
the straight and
blessing.
narrow.
Thank you so much.
And
I appreciate
Jonathan
you calling.
knows I see everything. And Jonathan,
Yes.
like, what up, Doe John?
That's awesome.
I love you. Thank you
And
so
I
much.
say what I mean, and I mean what I say. But he is a phenomenal young man. He is an inspiration. And I just wanted to tell him, thank you for letting.
Oh,
Oh,
thank you
that's
so
it.
much,
Thank you for
Miss
calling.
Bryant, for calling
Yeah.
in. And you know, just in this hour that I've had an opportunity to get to know both of these wonderful, beautiful, phenomenal young people, they are walking in their purpose.
Yes.
And I shared that earlier, did I not?
You did.
And they are just phenomenal, and just how they've navigated and still continuing to navigate.
That's
through
true.
Life has
Yeah.
challenges in it.
Yes.
Many
But we have to
challenges.
learn how to
Yeah.
navigate through them and still keep our head up high.
Yeah, that's the
And
only
I
way.
can tell by your mentor here,
Yes.
she gave you a lot of powerful affirmations to say.
She saw the back. She saw like everybody. She saw how bad I was, and so to see where it's like, even I think about it, like how it was to where I'm at now. It's like I can do nothing but thank every
Yes.
single person that came in and just said one thing or two things to me.
But you know that's really powerful. And before we go, because it's
I want you to tell us about the
6:56.
International Day of the Girl Child, and
Yeah.
you have an event coming up. Tell us
You
how to
just
reach
cut
you.
me off.
I'm sorry.
It's our event or your event.
Yeah.
I'll be with her.
Yeah, she's
Okay,
going to be with
okay.
us on Saturday. So the International Day of the Girl, Girl is going to be celebrated actually by us doing a Women Empowering Girls Tea Party. And we're going to have some fun. Michelle is going to be there, and DeStanza is going to be there. And actually, she's speaking. Now, we have had to shut it down because there's plates involved, and, you know, he had to have a count by a certain time. However, on October the 11th, we are looking for schools to get involved, to allow us to come in. John is going to be a part of that. DeStanza is going to be a part of that. So we can have speakers to come in, and we want your principals and teachers and counselors to get involved. And on that day, if we don't have a speaker to come, you can be the speaker, because kids are influenced by those who are around them. They are watching. It's not no do as I say, but do as I say, but don't follow what I say. No, that's not the way it goes. Kids hear us.
So how do they get in touch with you and you?
Yeah, so you can go to my website, sistersjourneyingtogether.org, and just go right under click on International Day of the Girl, and just scroll down, and you can fill out the volunteer information or your organization, and we would love to come into your school and bless your young people. And remember, International Day of the Girl, it is worldwide. So we have 80,000 viewers. You are welcome to be a part of this as well.
Thank you.
So you can reach me at email dgmurphy@ymail.com. But also, if you're interested in pageantry or have questions about it, or have any questions with it, or not even just pageantry, but things that that you aspire to do or you're nervous about doing, and you just want some confidence and some words to get out there and do it. But the Mrs. and Miss Michigan Pageants.com, we are always more than happy to connect. If there's appearances, there's opportunities to just continue to do what we do and uplift folks. Please reach out to us.
What's the age?
Ages for the Miss, it's 18 and up. Misses, and not married, and you can have children actually, because it's inclusive. And
very good.
Yes, and the Misses is you have to, I think it's 21 and up, and then you have to be married. And of course, children are welcome, and husbands get to walk on stage.
Oh, so you can be 80.
Yeah. Sure can.
All right, love it. I know.
Pageantry has taken a turn, and it is very much inclusive.
That's
so,
awesome.
I wanted to talk, but we don't have time to tell us how some of the pitfalls and some of the tricks when people are in the pageantry world getting their little children in it.
Yeah.
Because there's some things to go to and some things that they're just
Well, we
taking
can
your
definitely
money.
have you back.
Yes.
Yeah. John?
John, tell us how to reach you.
What up, though, John, on everything. And then other than that, if you want to beat the streets to come to your school as a mentor or after school program, is www.btsplay.org. And you'll see everything that we do, our upcoming schedule, when we have our next show in Detroit and everything like that.